Hello YouTube, how's it going? It's the Crow Show here. In today's video, I just want to talk about the Singularity and how much it makes me sad that I just don't see the Singularity at all while I'm playing games. I'm currently trying to learn the Singularity, but sadly due to an injury, I haven't been able to play games as much, but I'm nearly recovered. Anyway, the Singularity is really strong early game because survivors don't have the EMPs early on. So Singularity is one of the strongest killers early game, especially if you equip Lethal Pursuer so you can get early pressure. But the footage you're looking at here is very early footage of me learning how to play the Singularity. And it's a bit rough, but I just wanted to show maybe gameplay that isn't perfect, you know, not super highly edited. My goal for this series is to just show the progress of how long it takes to learn a new killer. Because some of you may have seen Oxtarva's video recently where he talks about how long it takes to get good at Dead by Daylight. And basically it's like 3,900 hours to become like esports ready, essentially. Now I'm curious, how many hours are required to learn a new killer? I don't know if I'll be able to properly measure it. You know, when a new killer comes out, you're playing against survivors who have maybe hundreds, if not thousands of hours of gameplay. While the footage you're looking at, I maybe have an hour of gameplay with the Singularity. So I'm learning how to use his power and learning what works while I'm playing against people who are using really strong builds and are very good at Survivor, because it doesn't take long to reach the MMR ceiling for matchmaking, just because the player base is so small. And if we had true MMR matchmaking, that's for another video, some of us would be here waiting several minutes, if not hours, for games. But what you're going to see here in this game especially is right there, Meg destroyed my power with EMP. That's one of the struggles that the Singularity has. The deeper you go into the game, the more accessible EMPs become for survivors. But when he's using his power, the Singularity can be really cool. Like right there, you see me close the gap to David, and because I'm in my power, when he dropped the pallet on me, it just breaks the pallet, and I'm able to close that chase really quickly. I don't know why Yoichi farmed David right in front of me, but as we're at one generator, I'm like, well, let's just try to get somebody out. So I hit David with my power, and I teleport to him, and because he's in a dead zone, he has really nowhere to go, and that's the end of the trial for David. Now again, we're down to one gen. I haven't really been pressuring gens, and I'm still trying to learn what kind of build I like for the Singularity. And I'm just focusing on chases. I think that was my 6th hook of the trial. 6 to 8 hooks is kind of ideal for me, whether I quote-unquote win or lose, especially while I'm learning a new killer. But this is where it can get pretty frustrating, you know, like all the gens are fixed. There goes my power. It's got an EMP. It's got a very strong pallet there. It's a relatively safe pallet. And Yoichi doesn't want to leave the trial yet, wants to mess around versus somebody who's learning the new killer. So I'm able to close the gap there, get Yoichi down, put him on a hook. Meg and Dwight are fully healed, and I fail at the hook trade right there. And you know, I don't really blame these survivors for playing this way. You know, they're doing what they can do to maximize the amount of points they get. And here I make another mistake. I probably should hit Yoichi here. But I was like, well, Dwight hasn't been hooked more than once. Let's get some hooks for Dwight. So I pick up Dwight. Did you hear that? Because I didn't. The Yoichi had a flashbang. I didn't realize he had flashbang. And that's the end of the trial. And you can see the perks are running, you know, Dead Hard, Head On, Hope, Balanced Landing, the Super Boon, very strong builds I had to face. And that right there is one of the reasons why people don't like playing the new killers. The Skull Merchant and the Knight were very much hated coming out of the gate, so that's a big reason why people didn't want to play them. But the Singularity is actually a super fun design, and in this opening chase here, I think I closed this first chase 33 seconds into the trial. And look at that. Because I'm using my power there, because I've got that green stuff there, I break the pallet super, super fast. But yeah, Singularity has a super fun design, and I would encourage people to learn Singularity. But my guess is you're going to have to put probably dozens of hours into playing Singularity before you become really proficient. Because, yeah, the gameplay you're looking at here, I've got maybe a couple of hours, if that. And this scenario, probably because it's solo queue, the survivors couldn't coordinate, so they kept coming towards the hook and couldn't really get a clean hook save because they kept just running close, running away, and so yeah, that person DC'd. So here I am using my power. I think Meg just destroyed it right away because she had an EMP. Again, when you're late game, Singularity can be really tough because everybody's got EMPs ready to go. Now Meg is body blocking off the hook and really wants out of this trial is my guess, so I was willing to oblige her there. Now the Singularity's strengths, again, are early game because no survivors have EMPs ready to go. And if you can spread his little power up to high places and kind of spread across the map, that helps as well. Now here I pull off kind of a cool move versus the Meg. Again, once I get into a chase, my main goal is to hit them with my power, and she doesn't have an EMP on her, so I've got a lot of options here. I believe what happens here is Meg goes to the pallet, and if the survivor is close to a dropped pallet and you use your power, you kind of teleport through and you break the pallet in one move. And you're able to do that while Singularity is blinded. So that was a really cool thing that I learned while I was in this trial. And I was able to use my power to teleport to the Meg on the gate. She tried a flashbang unsuccessfully. I used my power to close the distance, and bam, able to swing right through the pallet. I think the Singularity is a lot of fun. I think my next video, I'll be going over strategies of how to play as a Singularity, and maybe even talk about perk builds, because I've been practicing a lot, and I think I've found my favorite build. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and let me know, do you like the Singularity and have you tried him?